the most important one, species in use. It deals with all your flora, fauna, endangered species, extinct species, what are the lists of it, which category does a particular species come into. So, a lot of questions come on this particular topic, and you might get 1 to 2, or sometimes if the questions are more environmental based questions, then you might land up at 3-4 questions also. So, since there is a definite scope, 100% scope of species in use, we have accumulated everything for you so that your journey is going to become more simple. So, keeping that in mind, let's move on to what are the species in use in the month of January 2025. Let's start with January 2025. But before I go ahead, there are some things that a student must know, and there are questions which have been asked about that also. So, what are the organizations which give this list? And what is the structure of the organization? What do they do? Where are the headquarters? Alternative questions will come up a lot. So, keeping that in mind, we have prepared notes on that also. So, let's start with the first most important organization, which is very important for this is, let's start with CITES, CITES. So, CITES, basically, you have to understand that CITES, it's a Convention on International Trade, especially in endangered species. That is a full form of it, CITES. Now, about this organization, you have to know some fundamentals and context. So, it was launched in 1973. Force came into 1975. Its headquarters, that is the most important point, Geneva, Switzerland. So, that gives a scope of a prelims question. Now, totally 184 countries are there, and India joined in the year 1976. That is one important fact, because we have to think everything in terms of what India is doing. Now, what is the function of it? It basically protects wildlife, animals, plants, but if you observe trade, this part, trade in endangered species is not, it's completely banned. So, trade, you can do trading of species, but not endangered ones, and creating endangerment for a particular species. So, that function is done by CITES, which is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. So, basically, what it does is, it divides the whole thing into 3 categories. So, first category is Appendix 1. In Appendix 1, what it does is, highest protection is given to the species which belong to Appendix 1. Okay? What kind of species are pulled into Appendix 1 is those species which are almost about to get extinct. So, extinction zone kochenta varaku, extinction. On that, what do they do? Because it stops the trade is completely banned. For example, in India, you have tiger, elephant, like that. So, Appendix 1 comes under the list 1. Moving on, second category, Appendix 2. Here, you can do trading, but it is controlled trading, where they are not about to be extinction, but they are threatened to become extinct. So, such kind of things. For example, cobra, that is very important. Next, Appendix 3. Here, protection should be at least given by one country. One country should take the complete responsibility of that particular species in that particular country. So, that comes under Appendix 3 category. So, CITES control the overall things, but specific target is given to one country. For example, if you take walrus, Canada is a very cold country, walrus, the toothed one, that responsibility is exclusively given to Canada. Like this, the whole CITES divides the whole species into 3 categories, 1, 2 and 3. 1 is for extinct species, Appendix 2 is controlled trade, 3rd, protection at least in one country. So, this is what CITES stands for. So, whenever I talk about a species in the coming slides, I will be mentioning about CITES and other organizations which work for it. So, first thing the student has to know is this, headquarters, Geneva, Switzerland, that's very important. India joined in the 1976, 3 appendix, 1, 2, 3. So, 1 for highest protection, 2 for control trade, 3 for protection in at least one country. That's about it. So UPSC ki manaki telvali. This is what you are supposed to know as a UPSC aspirant. Now moving on, WLPA, that is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Basically, it came into force in 1973. Here they protect wildlife, birds, plants, animals, everything they can convert. Here what do they do? What does this organization do is wildlife protection. It protects the wildlife from what? From hunting, trading as well as exploiting. All these things are taken care by this Wildlife Protection Act, which every country follows. So it was amended in 2002, 2006 and again in 2022. Now this category divides the whole species of flora and fauna into 6 scheduled lists. That is very important. So if you look at it, Schedule 1 talks about highly protected, and if anything is done like hunting, poaching and all these things, they are given severe penalties. That penalties include imprisonment and up to 7 years of imprisonment and also a big fine. So that is about Wildlife Protection Act for Category 1. Category 2, List 2. It is highly protected but no punishments. For example, cobra, python and all these things, but highly protected. This highest exploitation if it is done, then Schedule 1 category. Next. 3 and 4 together comes under moderate protection. For example, hyena and fox. That is 3rd list. 4th list, 3rd and 4th list, medium protection. 5th list, animals that can be hunted. So if they're kept hunted, someday it will become extinct. So those who are allowed to be hunted, they should be limitedly hunted. For example, crow, mice and all these things. And finally, 6th, protected plants come into the 6th list of the Wildlife Protection Act. Example, blue vanda. Now, they also look into the sanctuaries, the national parks, the conservation reserves and the community reserves. All these things are also taken care of under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Now, this has to be done by someone. So here, they form NBW, that is National Bureau for Wildlife, and it is headed by the Prime Minister. PM takes care of all those things. Similarly, you have State Board for Wildlife, that is taken care by the CM, Chief Minister of that country, of that particular state. Next, there is a control board, WCCB, as well as Chief Wildlife Warden is also there for it. So all these guys together will take care of the Wildlife Protection Act. So a student must to know about all these things. Now, any crimes on this, WCCB takes care. Okay, to protect them, the warden is there. Any decision, the PM will take care at national level and CM will take care at state level. So wildlife boards are very, very important. So you might be asked a question based on the polity part or the list part or what is the functional part. So any of these things can be done. So Aparanga, this is very, very important. Next, moving on, the most important and the most famous, IUCN. International Union for Conservation of Nature as well as Natural Resources. All of them come into the picture. So in this, if you look at it, it was formed in 1948 and the headquarters is very important, Gland in Switzerland. It's actually near a lake called Gland. Gland Lake Pakan Tamata. Andike Gland place Peru. So 1969 India joined. Totally 1400 plus people will be working, 1400 different organizations, governments, NGOs, scientists, all of them work. So more than 1400 plus are there in this global organization. This is the global protection center for all the species around it. So what it does, it conserves biodiversity, it takes care of scientific data, and it makes sure that countries are following good governance and gives government advices, and it identifies the endangered species and makes sure that they are sustainably developed and the species are protected in that particular regions. That is the functions of this IUCN. Now this also classifies everyone into what does it do apart from that? It creates the red list, that means extinction list, which species are becoming extinct. Next, it advises UNEP's CITS and it protected areas it covers, and it does research as well as networking for all the countries. That is the function of what IUCN does. Now this also has a beautiful list. The list is very important because that keeps coming in when I am dealing with all the species one by one. LC, least concerned, safe, it means okay. NT, not threatened yet, so lion. VU means vulnerable. Vulnerable means high risk, especially in the wild. If it is present in the wild, there is a high risk for it. It can be through hunting, poaching or trading. Any of these mechanisms can work. Next, endangered, very high risk, that is a major point. Next, CR, critically endangered, means extreme risk is there for this category. EW, extinct in the wild. That means these things, if they are present, they are wild, you will not even find them. So the only way you can do that is you have to protect them in captivity. So you have to protect them, you have to jail them, and you have to make sure they are not getting extinct. That is the category EW. And EX means extinct, they are already gone. So these are the categories which are very, very important from IUCN list. So very famous is blue list, red list, and red list is covered clear, made by the IUCN. So as a UPSC student, you must definitely know about these three categories. Sites, number one, very important. Next, WLPA, Wildlife Protection Act. And third, IUCN, what does it do and what are the lists? IUCN decides LC, NT, VU, EN, CR, EW, NAX. Now, for example, if you look at Bengal tiger, that is an endangered species. IUCN gives that name. Asiatic lion, it comes under endangered species. Dolphin, extremely endangered. Now, Indian bustard, critically endangered. All such things, list will be provided by the IUCN. Similarly, if you look at WPA, PLA, 6 lists, highly protected, plus penalties. High protection is required, medium protection is required, animals which can be hunted, and protected plants. All these come, and this data is given by WLPA. Now, national parks, everything, sanctuaries, conservation reserves, all these come under the Wildlife Protection Act. And finally, CITS, Convention on International Trade, endangered species trading, all these things, again it is divided into Appendix 1, Appendix 2 and Appendix 3. So highest protection are given for extinct, almost extinction and highly threatened species. Appendix 2, controlled trade will be given. So threatened species have to be given. And Appendix 3, protection at least by one country. So these are all the things that a UPSC aspirant must know before understanding species in use. If you don't understand this, if you don't get this information, there is no point doing it because you will not be able to answer the question. So keeping that in mind, these are all the three categories: CITES, CITES, WLPA, Wildlife Protection Act, and finally the IUCN. Now that you know all these things, let's move on to the January's species which were in news in 2025. So starting with the first species for today, Pallas cats. This is the beautiful cat which is there. Now, what is important is not all the information is important, but only some of the information is useful for your parents. So keeping that in mind, let's start. First photographic evidence of the elusive Pallas cat was taken in Himachal Pradesh. That's the first point. Now, what is its appearance? If you see, short legs, chota legs, but full fur. Short legs and dense fur for stocky appearance. Now, the best part about this is coat coloration it does. Flat ears set on sides for supreme camouflage. Camouflage means hiding. It changes its colors. That's the beauty of it. And black spots on forehead. Sometimes they ask questions on, they've asked questions on species and its extra features. So for example, in this case, Pallas cat, it can do camouflage. We have heard about plants, lizards doing camouflage, but cats camouflage, we don't know. Therefore, Pallas, and why it is very important, Himachal Pradesh mein, they took out the first photograph. So small cats mein jo bhi features nahi hai, din ko nahi. Therefore, it becomes very important. So what category? Now where do you find this? Majorly it is found in Mongolia, China and Tibetan Plateau. So extreme climate, weather low, its habitat is there. Basically Central Asia from Caspian Sea through Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Northern India to Central China, Mongolia and Southern Russia. This is the range in which you can find these beautiful cats. Pallas cats. Totally 16 countries its range is there with core populations in Mongolia, China as well as Russia. Now this is one thing. Now the most important thing is this. What is the status of this particular cat? Why this has come in news? So according to CITS, it comes under Appendix 2. As I told you, what is Appendix 2? As I gave here, Appendix 2 will be controlled trade. It is almost coming to threatened one. That is the reason why it is coming under Appendix 2. Now if you look at that, next, Wildlife Protection Act, it comes under Schedule 1, therefore it is highly protected. Next, IUCN, it is least concern. According to IUCN list, it is least concern. So that is the reason. So you have to keep it in. So trade is happening, therefore it becomes Protected Act. It comes under the WPLA as Schedule 1. That's the most important point. So this is about Pallas cats. Like that, each category you have to understand the habitat, you have to understand the features, and you have to understand the status of that particular species. Unless there is no news about it, it will not come into the news. If it's coming into the news, it automatically becomes very important. So in January, the first species is about Pallas cats. Appendix 2, Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1, and IUCN is very, very important for prelims basically. A lot of questions come from this only. So it's of least concern. Next, in news, why it is there? Why it is in news? Because next one, butterfly banded royal. Butterfly banded royal. This has a different name in India. So why it is in news? It was found recently in Tripura. Achieved a significant milestone. This is the beautiful butterfly we are talking about, the royal butterfly. So it is the first ever recording of banded royal butterfly. It is called Rachana Jalindra Indra. It's a rare species in Sefajala Wildlife Sanctuary. That is very, very important. So this becomes a scope of a huge prelims question coming from this one. This banded royal butterfly, its name is very, very important. Rachana, just remember Rachana for easy thing. Jalindra Indra. Where did you find it? In Sefajala Wildlife Sanctuary. Where is it? It is in Tripura. So heavy scope for prelims question coming from this. So this is how this beautiful butterfly looks. Now why it is important? Next category. The butterfly has 3 subspecies in India. However, the latest findings adds Tripura to the known distribution range of new species. Now these are the 3 species we are talking about. Very, very important for prelims. So 3 species, 3 stars. These are all the subspecies which are involved in this. Rachana Jalindra Makanita, Rachana Jalindra Indra Makanita, and Tarpina. Rachana Jalindra. So Rachana Jalindra is referred to a butterfly. That is what the question might be in UPSC. So therefore, this Rachana Jalindra Anangane, you have to go to the butterfly part. Okay. So what are the subspecies? They might ask a question on this. This Makanita, Indra, and Tarpina. What are these related to? Question might be asked like that. Okay. So they'll give you a species. They might give you match the following. Such kind of questions can come. So you must be knowing about all these things. What is the significance of this? Richness of Tripura's biodiversity, it is known. And ecological research in that region is actually bringing out a lot of new species which we don't know about. What is the conservation status? It is under Indian Wildlife Protection Act and it comes under Schedule 2. So still not under the IUCN agreed. So that is a point. Why it is in news? So no IUCN on that, but it is only conservation status comes under Schedule 2. So I don't think there will be a question asked here, but scope of question influences Rachana Jalindra, Rachana Jalindra, Rachana Jalindra. What are the subspecies? Makanita, Indra, as well as Tarpina. They might ask you, they'll give you this list and say, what is it related to? Which species is it related to? So, and they'll give you birds, plants, and animals, and then say which of them. Okay. So, if you know that Rachana Jalindra is related to butterfly, automatically you can give that answer. That's how you have to cast the question. Okay. Subspecies. Next important species which popped up is golden jackal. That's the beauty. Now here, recently noted golden jackals in adapting their changing environment and no longer avoiding humans. Previously, these jackals were only living in the forests. They never tried to humanly interact. But recently, they found that there is a human wildlife living together. It's like that. So, a symbiotic ecosystem is being created. That is what environmentalists have found. Now, about this, its behavior are predominantly nocturnal venture. That means during night time, they are very, very active. And peaking at dawn and dusk flow, their activities become very, very high. Size, small size, and do not possess a direct threat to the humans. That is the whole point. Just like Mowgli. Okay, that was wolf. This is fox. That's the only thing. Sorry, jackals. Almost like dogs only. So that's the base point. Now, however, as wild animals, their behavior can be unpredictable, especially if provoked or disturbed. Habitat, that's very important. Terrestrial biomes, deserts or dunes, there you will be able to find like savannas or grasslands, forests, and scrub forests. This is the areas. So habitat is very important. Food habits, 54% animal food and 46% plant food. So it's a combination of omni and carno. Therefore, they might ask a question about golden jackal. Is it completely herbivorous, completely herbivorous, or 50-50? So it is a 50-50 thing. Problem, diseases you will get, hunting, it has a lot of diseases, it is highly hunted, and habitat destruction also happens because of this. Golden jackals play a crucial role in maintaining the biodiversity of especially the mangrove as well as the grassland ecosystem. That is the reason it is very important. It's a part of the biosystem, therefore it is very important. Now, along with species like snakes, monkeys and insects, they contribute to the ecological balance. They play an important scavenging role by eating garbage and animal things around it, especially in towns and villages. Now here the most important part, the conservation status under WLPA, under Schedule 1, IUCN, least concern, CITS, traded, therefore Appendix 2. So these are all scope for prelims questions. So basically I don't think you get a question here because it is least concern, but they might ask you a question on habitats, or they will ask you a prelims question because of the human and jackals interactions. So that is the reason that becomes very, very important. So the next important species is Manes indo-burmanica, this beautiful creature. Now here, let's look at it. Researchers from Zoological Survey of India identified a new pangolin species in Arunachal Pradesh. Therefore, this becomes a scope of prelims question called Indo-Burmese pangolin. Manes indo-burmanica, that is a scientific name. So this is a huge scope for prelims question coming from this particular name and place where it was found. About pangolin, appearance covered with hard protective scales like this, these scales, very, very tight, very hard they will be. It's very difficult. Just like the mongoose, no? And pangolin, this pangolin is very, very important. It is also very nocturnal and it's always alone, solitary. Habitat, forests and grasslands will find it. Next, unique feature, if touched or grabbed, it will roll up completely into a ball. So this gives a huge scope for prelims question coming. Which of the following turn into a ball when touched? Like that. So sharp scales on tail can be used to lash out also. Diet, they are scaly anteaters. That is a major point because of their preferred diet. Now what is the threat for it? The biggest threat for it is being poached because it is a rare animal. Habitat threat, environmental degradation happens. And conservation status is very important. Under WLPA, Schedule 1, therefore highly protected. IUCN Red List, it is endangered. That is a major point. So therefore becomes a heavy scope for prelims question coming from this particular topic. So endangered and the ball part. These two are very, very important for your prelims questions. So that's the feature for it. Next important species which is in news this year is in January, golden-headed cisticola. This is a beautiful bird. So beautiful it is. Now why is it in news? Golden-headed cisticola was recently spotted for the first time in Matikettan Shola National Park, Idukki, in southern Western Ghats. So scope of prelims is very much. Which national park? Shola National Park. What was found? Golden-headed. The head of it is gold in nature. Cisticola. Remember Coca-Cola, cisticola. Found where? In Shola. Make it simple. Okay. So all these signs are, if you remember this, it is golden-headed cola found in Shola. Easy to remember. Prelims ke liye very, very important. So where is cola found? It is found in Shola National Park in Idukki. That is very important. Now about golden-headed cisticola, habitat grassland in mountain ranges. Distribution is Australia and Asian countries. In India, you found it in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and northern Kerala. IUCN status, it is least concern. So that is a standard of it. So that's the point. So species in January, which has scope of getting questions, I have mentioned. So the IUCN status and its habitat sometimes, and if there is a special feature of it, that's very important. So where is it found? For example, here it is found in Matikettan Shola National Park. So it's sometimes it becomes students to remember Matikettan, Idukki. Therefore, just remember Shola Cola. So cisticola is found in Shola. Like that, you please remember them because a lot of species remembering becomes difficult. You have to always find a shortcut to remember that. So this is about your January species in news. We already done January month, IPND. So let's do species in news in February 2025. So notes is very important. Scope of 1 or 2 prelims questions coming from this. So let's observe this. So the first beautiful thing, which is olive ridley turtle, very important, because too many articles on olive ridley turtle. So it's a 16-year study from 2008 to 2024 by Dakshin Foundation, IISc Bangalore and State Forest Department, India's sea turtle populations. Basically, this is primarily very important for your UPSC exam. Let's look at the features of it. It's the smallest sea turtle, therefore prelims question. With olive colored shell, if you observe this, olive colored shell, that's the beauty of it. Usually it is green in color, but this is olive in color. Weighing about 35 to 50 kgs. Now found in tropical as well as subtropical waters of the Indian, Pacific as well as Atlantic Oceans. Basically, a lot of nesting happens. All of them come together, especially in nesting sites in India, in Orissa, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh as well as Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It's omnivorous and feeds on jellyfish, crustaceans and algae. This is very important. Algae part is very important, playing a crucial role for marine ecosystems. So that is a major point. So you have to remember tropical and subtropical. So that gives a scope for prelims question. Which states do you find this? Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh as well as Andaman Nicobar. Is it omnivorous or not? So that is another thing. And its basic food is jellyfish. So next, about the study, stable or growing population, olive ridley numbers remain steady and rising despite lot of missed aribadas. Record nesting events, Odisha's Rushikulya Rukri saw 6.5 lakh turtles nesting in days. So that is very important scope for prelims question. So they'll ask you, Rushikulya Rukri, in which state is it? So it is Odisha. Climate change concerns, rising temperatures has actually brought a skew sex ratio between the female turtles and the male turtles. So that becomes a big problem to maintain the stability point. Now, expanding green turtle population, growth in Lakshadweep leads to seagrass overgrazing and ecological shifts. That is a big problem we have. Overgrazing. Now, leatherback recovery, nesting in Andaman and Nicobar risen post-tsunami with migrations to Madagascar, Mozambique as well as Australia. So, scope of prelims question is not there here, but this is the major part. Huge amount, 6.5 lakh turtles. That's the best part. Next, conservation programs, Operation Olivia. So they might ask you a question. Operation Olivia is related to what? Olive ridley turtles on Indian Coast Guard to protect the turtles from illegal poaching as well as fishing hazards. Next, turtle excluded dividers, TEDs, mandated in trawlers to reduce bycatch mortality. Next, community-based conservation, involvement of local fishing communities in protecting nesting beaches. And IOC Marine Turtle Memorandum of Understanding has been signed with promoting regional cooperation for turtle conservation. So these are all the conservation programs. So they would ask you about Operation Olivia and turtle excluded devices. Maximum, these are the two scope of prelims questions which can come from this particular topic. Next important topic, important species, blue-cheeked bee eater. So the cheek is blue, but it eats the bee. First breeding site of blue-cheeked bee eater. The scientific names are very important. Merops periscus, very important for prelims. It's found in Andinvilla, Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu. Appearance, shimmering green plumage, distinctive blue cheek patch, long tail streamers. So this long tail, blue cheek, you see this blue cheek and the beak. And what they do, they eat the bees. So there is a scope of prelims questions coming from this. What is the nature of this blue-cheeked bee eater? Global range, it breeds in Nile Delta, Pakistan, Iran as well as Africa. So these are the growing areas. Breeding behavior observed in burrows along salt pans with population increasing from 28 to 48 birds. That's a very good sign. Breeding season active throughout the year except February. So IUCN status is very important. It is least concern. So scope of prelims question. So they might ask you a match the following and say which of them is least concern. So keep ready for that. Next, loggerhead sea turtles. If you observe this, recently a report in Nature presents loggerhead turtles whose Earth's magnetic field as a map over compass for navigation. Families Chelonidae found across global oceans, commonly seen in Atlantic, Pacific as well as Indian Oceans as well as Mediterranean Sea. So the magnetic field says that loggerhead turtles they are like compass. So this gives a scope of prelims question. So that one is loggerhead sea turtles, very important. Now if you observe, It's omnivorous, preference is bottom-dwelling invertebrates, and IUCN status vulnerable. Therefore, gives a huge scope of prelims question coming about this. The Wildlife Protection Act, if it comes under Schedule 1, so highly protected, as I told you in the video itself. Trade regulation, protected under CITES, Appendix 1, therefore highly, very important for your prelims questions. Because it is Schedule 1, vulnerable, and trade regulation, it is highly protected, therefore punishments can also be done. Next. Loggerhead turtles undertake extensive migrations covering thousands of kilometers, constantly return to their original feeding and nesting grounds. Their ability to retain magnetic signatures, that is a beautiful point, for navigation strengthens the theory that other migratory species may also rely on Earth's geomagnetic field for orientation. Therefore, because it relies on magnetic field, this loggerhead turtles becomes primary important because it is a special feature. Therefore, it becomes very important for a prelims question coming from this particular topic. So, moving on, Hangul deer is also very important. So, study by CSR CCMB team was done, minimizing human disturbances to aid population recovery of this endangered Hangul deer in Himalayas. Its endangered status, therefore very important for your prelims questions. Where do you find it? In the Himalayas. Next, state animal of Jammu and Kashmir. That gives a more important scope for prelims question coming. Primary location, Dachigam National Park near Srinagar and Jammu and Kashmir. So, habitat type, dense riverine forests, high altitude meadows and mountain slopes at elevation ranging from 1800 to 3500 meters. That means 18 kilometers, 1.8 kilometers to 3.5 kilometers. Calving, usually one fawn is born after a gestation period of about 8 months. Therefore, very important. You observe this. Gestation periods they don't ask usually, but usually they concerned with. Now, this comes under Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1, IUCN critically endangered. Therefore, heavy scope of prelims question coming from this particular topic. And nocturnal, no. That means it's active during the day sessions. So, these are all the major species that were covered in February. So, all these 5 species that you have discussed, there's a scope of one question coming up, or they can give you a match the following and ask you to solve the issues. Species in use for March month. So, first, long-billed vulture, Chips indicus, that is the name. So, this is that beautiful figure. So, as per recent study, population of the long-billed vulture has seen steady increase. So, which is a good thing. Why? Because it is found in India and Southeast Pakistan. IUCN status critically endangered. Therefore, very important for prelims. Behavior, it does lot of sunbathing as an important thermoregulatory behavior because of the heat and all that. Next, smooth-coated otter, which is nothing but Lutrogale perspiculate. So, this is that beautiful thing. The Delhi Zoo is said to receive these smooth-coated otters as a part of animal exchange program with Surat Zoo after nearly 2 decades. So, prelims question. Distribution found across Southern Asia, IUCN status vulnerable. Therefore, this becomes a huge state for prelims question coming in. Wildlife Protection Act 1972 status and the Schedule 1, that means it is highly protected. Appendix 1, highly protected, CITS and behavior, strong swimmers often hunting in groups and adopting V formation with fishing upstream. Next, Fijian iguanas, Brachyphyllus vitinis. So, this is that bully kind of thing. So, as per recent study, the ancestors of Fijian iguanas journey near 8,000 kilometers across Pacific Ocean from the Americas by rafting on floating vegetation. So, that is the context. So, distribution, it is endemic to Fiji, only in dry forest it is found. And islands are Yadua Taba, Monrika as well as Makwata. IUCN status critically endangered according to site status, Appendix 1. That means no international trade is necessary. So, very important for prelims. Next, behavior, arboreal, tree dwelling, nocturnal tendencies, often hiding during the day and avoiding predators. That is the main thing that they are looking into. Next, gangetic dolphin. It is called Platanista gangetica. Endemic to Ganga Brahmaputra river, therefore very important for prelims. Classified as endangered under the IUCN Red List, Schedule 1 of the WTO Act of 1972. Indicator species for river health, the maximum number are found in Uttar Pradesh, followed by Bihar, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Rajasthan as well as Madhya Pradesh. So these are the beautiful creatures. So scope of prelims is only Ganga Brahmaputra, that is in the heavy scope. Next, Platanista gangetica minor. like the walrus kind of thing. Indus River dolphin it is called. It is found in Indus Basin, Bias River, Punjab, classified as endangered. Prelims scope under Schedule 1 of the WP Act, mainly found in Punjab. Therefore, scope of prelims is this. Next, hotspots, high dolphin density areas. Chausa Manihar stretch, Bihar, 590 km stretch with an encounter of 2,220 dolphins per kilometer. Next, Manihari, Bihar to Rajmahal, Jharkhand, encounter rate of 2.75 dolphins per kilometer. Next, Bihar overall encounter rate of 1.62 dolphins per kilometer attributed to deeper water as well as confluences of Gagahara, Gandak, Kosi as well as Son rivers. Next, cold spots, low or no dolphin areas, Narora to Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh, 360 km stretch with an encounter of only 0.1 dolphins per kilometer. Next, Farrukhabad Kanauj stretch, identified as cold spot between Narora as well as Kannur barrages. Other cold spots are Yamuna River, Kaushambi Chitrakot, Sharda River at Pilbit, and Rapti River, Balrampur, Siddharth Nagar. These are the areas where you can find these dolphins with respect to cold. So these are the important species from the March month. You will get one prelims question, maximum 2. So keep ready with the information. So April 2025 lo species in news endo ఒకసారి చూద్దాం. First important news, as I said, video starting lo you have CITES వాళ్ళది, Wildlife Protection Act as well as IUCN. So digitally and critically endangered ante entidi, Apex 1 ante entidi, Schedule 1 ante entidi, all the video is provided in the starting of it. So keep revisiting that because that is how you get questions in prelims. So the first beautiful creature of today is damselfly of Wayanad. It's called Euphia wayanadensis. This is a new species which has been found out. New species of damselfly discovered in Wayanad, Kerala. This is the beautiful species which they found out. It's a fly. ఇది బేసికల్గా ఇట్ ఈస్ యాక్టివ్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద డే, అంటే పొద్దున చాలా మంచిగా ఉంటుంది అండ్ మాన్సూన్ సీజన్స్లో మంచి యాక్టివ్గా ఉంటుంది. ఇది ఫారెస్ట్ ఫ్లోయింగ్ స్ట్రీమ్స్లో భయంకరంగా యాక్టివ్గా ఉంటుంది. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఐడెంటిఫైడ్ బై లాంగ్ బ్లాక్ హిండ్ వింగ్, అంటే వెనకాల ఇది మాట దిస్ వింగ్ భయంకరంగా ఉంటుంది. సో ఫీచర్స్ మీద అడిగే క్వశ్చన్ ఉంటుంది ఫిలిమ్స్కి. బ్రాడ్ హమరల్ స్ట్రైప్స్ ఆన్ మేల్స్ అండ్ డిస్టింక్ట్ మేల్ జెనిషియల్ ఫీచర్స్ ఎస్పెషల్లీ ఫర్ మేల్స్ మాట. సో ఇట్లాంటిది. సో ఫీచర్స్ మీద అడిగే ఛాన్స్ తక్కువ, బట్ ఐయుసిఎన్ స్టేటస్ ఇస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో ఐయుసిఎన్ రెడ్ లిస్ట్లో కన్జర్వేషన్ స్టేటస్ చూసుకుంటే నాట్ యెట్ అసెస్డ్ బై ద ఐయుసిఎన్ రెడ్ లిస్ట్ సైట్స్ కానీ దాని మీద ఇంకా చెప్పలేదు. బట్ సిన్స్ ఇట్స్ అ న్యూ స్పీషీస్ విచ్ హెస్ బీన్ ఫౌండ్ ఇన్ ఇండియా, స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ప్రిలిమ్స్ క్వశ్చన్స్ భయంకరంగా ఉంటుంది. న్యూ స్పీషీస్ విచ్ హెస్ బీన్ ఫౌండ్. ఆ పరంగా దిస్ ఆర్టికల్, దిస్ పాయింట్ ఇస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. నెక్స్ట్, పెయింటెడ్ లేడీ బటర్ఫ్లై వెనెసా కార్డ్యూల్, ఇది మాట బటర్ఫ్లై. సో రీసెంట్ స్టడీ ఏం చెప్పింది దీని గురించి? రివీల్డ్ దట్ పెయింటెడ్ లేడీ బటర్ఫ్లైస్ హ్యావ్ డిఫరెంట్ మైగ్రేటరీ ప్యాటర్న్స్ దాన్ బర్డ్స్. బర్డ్స్ కంటే ఈ బటర్ఫ్లైస్కి మైగ్రేటరీ ప్యాటర్న్స్ ఎక్కువ అని చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. సో దాని గురించి గ్లోబల్లీ ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఇన్ అంటార్టికాలో ఉండదు, సౌత్ అమెరికాలో ఈ రెండిట్లో ఇట్స్ అవైలబిలిటీ ఇస్ నాట్ దేర్ ఆర్ మైగ్రేషన్ ప్యాటర్న్ ఇస్ నాట్ దేర్. సో ఈ స్ట్రాంగ్ ఫ్లయింగ్ స్పీషీస్ మైగ్రేట్స్ 8 to 10 generations కవరింగ్ టోటలీ 15,000 kilometers. గ్రాస్ ల్యాండ్ నుంచి డెజర్ట్ వరకు అన్నింటిలో బ్రతికేస్తుంది. ఇది కూడా దీని కన్జర్వేషన్ సిస్టమ్ ఇంకా రెడ్ లిస్ట్లోకి రాలేదు అండ్ ప్రొటెక్షన్ యాక్ట్ కింద రాలేదు. బట్ ఇది మైగ్రేటరీ ప్యాటర్న్స్కి వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో దెర్ మైట్ బి అ క్వశ్చన్ విచ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫాలోయింగ్ హ్యాస్ హెవీ మైగ్రేటరీ ప్యాటర్న్స్ అని క్వశ్చన్ అడగచ్చు. దేర్ ఫోర్ దీనికి స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిలిమ్స్ క్వశ్చన్స్ కెన్ కమ్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ద మైగ్రేటరీ ప్యాటర్న్స్ దాని మీద. అండ్ ఇది అంటార్టికాలో ఉండదు, సౌత్ అమెరికాలో ఉండదు. దట్ ఈస్ అ స్పెషల్ ఫీచర్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద బ్యూటిఫుల్ వెనెసా కార్డ్యూల్ లేడీ బటర్ఫ్లై. దట్స్ అనదర్ థింగ్. నెక్స్ట్, రసల్ వైపర్స్ డబాయ్ రసే, ఇది మాట డేంజరస్. ఇది రసల్ వైపర్స్. రీసెంట్ స్టడీ లోకల్ క్లైమేట్ కెన్ బి యూజ్డ్ టు ప్రిడిక్ట్ ద వెనమ్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఆఫ్ రసల్స్ వైపర్. ఇట్స్ అ వైపర్, therefore obviously it's very important and very dangerous also. Helping clinicians to provide targeted therapies for snake bite victims. ఇది ఒకసారి కొట్టిందంటే 3-4 minutes 1 hour లోపల చచ్చిపోతాడు. సో అందుకే వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో ఈ డెజర్ట్స్లో ఎక్కువ దొరుకుతూ ఉంటుంది ఇది రసల్ వైపర్స్. సో ఈ రసల్స్ వైపర్ 40% ఆఫ్ ద స్నేక్ బైట్ డెత్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా therefore very important. The living patterns are basically in South as well as Southeast Asia. ఇది ఎక్కడ open grassy areas and grows up to 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters and active at dusk, dawn and dusk. It is known for distinctive reddish brown spots and triangular head. అది బేసికల్ గా దీంట్లో ఉన్న ఫీచర్. It has a triangular head. Okay, and spots. ఈ దానికి రసల్ వైపర్ ని అలా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. సో IUCN, its least concern status but very deadly snake, therefore చాలా important because it's a viper. Next, white rumped vulture Gyps bengalensis. ఇది మాట. So what does it do? దీంట్లోనే ఫీచర్స్ ఏంటో చూద్దాము. బ్లాకిష్ ప్లమేజ్ ఉంటుంది, వైట్ నెక్ రఫ్ ఉంటుంది, రఫ్ లాగా ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట, వైట్ నెక్ రఫ్. వైట్ ప్యాచ్ ఆన్ ఫెదర్స్, ఫెదర్స్ మీద వైట్ ప్యాచెస్ ఇఫ్ యూ అబ్జర్వ్, అండ్ లోవర్ బ్యాక్. డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ పాకిస్తాన్, ఇండియా, బంగ్లాదేశ్, నేపాల్, భూటాన్ as well as మయన్మార్లో దొరుకుతుంది. Its habitat is very important. Open country near human habitation and often seen near carcasses and garbage dumps. Vulture కదా, అక్కడే ఉంటుంది బేసికల్గా. డెడ్ థింగ్స్, గార్బేజెస్ దగ్గర ఎక్కువ దొరుకుతుంది. థ్రెడ్స్ ఏంటంటే డైక్లోఫెనాక్ పాయిజనింగ్ భయంకరంగా జరుగుతుంది. వెటనరీ డ్రగ్ టాక్సిక్స్ ఫర్ వల్చర్స్ ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది ఈ వల్చర్స్ చెప్పడానికి, అండ్ ట్రేడింగ్ గురించి చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అయిపోతుంది. దేర్ఫోర్ ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి డైక్లోఫెనాక్ పాయిజనింగ్ వల్ల చనిపోయే విచ్ స్పీషీస్ ఈస్ ప్రొవైడెడ్ విత్ డైక్లోఫెనాక్ పాయిజనింగ్. సో దట్ ఈస్ యువర్ వైట్ రంప్డ్ వల్చర్. Okay, దాని scientific name very important. So scope of prelims questions can come from here because it's humanly poisoned. Conservation status IUCN critically endangered, CMS appendix 1 కింద వస్తుంది, WPS schedule 1 కింద వస్తుంది. That means this is highly important, highly protected, highly important and red list కింద వచ్చేసింది. Therefore heavy scope of a prelims question coming in. అందుకే 3 stars పెట్టి prelims అని రాస్తున్నాను. Very important because red list, appendix 1, schedule 1. So దీని details at the start of the video లో మీకు దొరుకుతాయి, so check it out. Next, Indian long-billed vulture Gyps indicus. Long-billed vulture ఇది, ఇందాక వేరే vulture, ఇది long-billed vulture. Large vulture with pale body, dark flight feathers, slender bill ఉంటుంది దానికి. సో ఇందాక దానికి white patches, but దీనికేమో dark flight feathers ఉంటాయి ఇట్లాంటివి. So primarily found in peninsular India, habitats in open areas, nesting cliffs and tall trees మీద కనపడుతుంది. థ్రెడ్స్ ఏంటిదంటే క్యాటస్ట్రోఫిక్ డిక్లైన్స్ భయంకరంగా తగ్గిపోయినాయి డ్యూ టు డైక్లోఫెనాక్ పాయిజనింగ్ అగైన్ అండ్ లీడింగ్ టు కిడ్నీ ఫెయిలియర్ ఆఫ్టర్ కన్స్యూమింగ్ కంటామినేటెడ్ కార్సోసిస్. చాలా చెత్త తినేసి చచ్చిపోతున్నాయి, అందుకే వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. కన్జర్వేషన్ స్టేటస్ IUCN CR అపెండిక్స్ 1 షెడ్యూల్ 1. సో దిస్ క్లియర్లీ షోస్ దిస్ వల్చర్ ఇస్ ఆల్సో అండర్ హై ప్రయారిటీ. ట్రేడింగ్ లిస్ట్ లో లేదు, చేస్తే పనిష్మెంట్స్ అండ్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. దేర్ఫోర్ హెవీ స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ అ ప్రిలిమ్స్ క్వశ్చన్ కమింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ టాపిక్ ఆల్సో. సో ఈ రెండు వల్చర్స్ మీద ఎక్కువ కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేయండి, దట్ ఈస్ అ థింగ్ ఫర్ ఇట్. నెక్స్ట్ రైనోసరస్, అసలు ఇది చాలా రోజులు చూసి. నేషనల్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ ఎడ్యుకేషనల్ ట్రైనింగ్ NCERT has put on criticism for passing off an African rhinoceros as one horned. ఇది న్యూస్ బేసికల్గా. సో in 4 mathematics textbooks. So scientific name is Rhinoceros unicorns, common name Indian rhinoceros, greater one horned rhinoceros. సో ఇది ఫిజికల్ ఫీచర్స్, లార్జెస్ట్ ఏషియన్ రైనో స్పీషీస్ ఇది, సెకండ్ లార్జెస్ట్ రైనో గ్లోబలీ ఆఫ్టర్ ద వైట్ రైనో. సింగిల్ బ్లాక్ హార్న్ ఉంటుంది బోత్ సెక్సెస్ కి ఫర్ మేల్ అండ్ ఫీమేల్. దట్ మైట్ బి ద స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ క్వశ్చన్. యూజువల్లీ 25 to 36 meters long, thick grey brown skin with deep folds resembling armor plates, wart-like bumps on shoulders and upper legs, very little body hair except for eyelashes near fringes and tail brush. So if you observe all these features you can see here in the face. That's very important. న్యూస్లో ఎందుకంటే రాంగ్గా ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేశారు, అది పాయింట్. హ్యాబిటాట్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ తీసుకుంటే అలివియల్ గ్రాస్ ల్యాండ్స్కి ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది, వెట్ ల్యాండ్స్ ఎక్కువ కనపడుతుంది. హిమాలయన్ ఫుట్ హిల్స్, బ్రహ్మపుత్ర అండ్ గ్యాంగెస్ రివర్ వ్యాలీస్. మెయిన్ ఇండియన్ పాపులేషన్స్ ఆర్ ఇన్ కాజీరంగా, పోబిటోరో, ఓరంగ్, మానస్, అస్సాం, అండ్ జల్పరా అండ్ గోరుమారా, వెస్ట్ బెంగాల్, తుడ్వా, ఉత్తరప్రదేశ్. దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద ప్లేసెస్ వేర్ యూ కెన్ ఫైండ్. సో దేర్ ఫోర్ ఫిలిమ్స్కి చాలా చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఆబ్వియస్ అయిపోతుంది for the rhinoceros, one horned rhinoceros. Conservation status IUCN red list కింద ఉంది. Vulnerable, population trend increasing to conservation, and sites appendix 1, therefore highly protected also. Greater than 4,000 India and Nepal, that is the features of this rhinoceros. So these are all the things used in species for April month. So అన్ని రివైజ్ చేస్తూ ఉండండి and keep in touch with the video. go through the video once and once again, వెళ్తా ఉంటుంటే you will remember things. You will get 1 or 2 definite questions from 2026 prelims upcoming. Now we will do May month 2025. So దీంట్లో మేలో ఒక 4 to 5 ఉన్న items. So always concentrate on the IUCN list, CITES and Wildlife Protection Act కింద వచ్చేది. And what are the special features of each of the species? Habitats important. So ఆ పరంగా మనం చూసుకుంటే you can expect 1 or 2 UPSC prelims questions for 2026. So let's look at this. Indian grey wolf, ఇది మాట. Its scientific name Canis lupus pallidus. అది కాంటెక్స్ట్ ఏంటంటే ఇండియన్ గ్రే wolves in Kadvanwadi, Maharashtra. That's a scope of prelims question వచ్చే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. It is facing a severe threat, especially from the feral dog attacks, with the population dropping from 17 నుంచి 6 కి వచ్చేసింది బేసికల్గా. 16 నుంచి 6 ఏళ్లలో 17 నుంచి 6కి వచ్చింది. సో వెరీ డేంజరస్ థ్రెట్, ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఎక్స్టింక్షన్ లెవెల్కి వచ్చేసింది ఇండియా. సో ఫౌండ్ ఇన్ ఎంపీ, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Indian wolves live in semi-arid regions, grasslands lo. Dogs nunchi start ayindi but behave very wild, and it balances the ecosystem but face threats from habitat loss, canine distemper, virus, CDV. So CDV becomes a scope of prelims questions. Dog attacks and crossbreeding valla vache problem. Conservation status chuskunte IUCN status, it is classifies according to its risk of extinction batti endangered or vulnerable clause కింద వచ్చింది. Therefore goes for prelims question. CITES ప్రకారంగా appendix 1, which means it is highly protected, and WPA కింద schedule 1, therefore no trading and all that stuff. So highest level of protection రావడం అనేది very important. Therefore this gives a scope of prelims question because it's a threat because of this virus, dog attacks and all these things. Therefore that is the whole point. Next, longest banana, very important. ఇది మాట, longest banana. World's longest banana infract has recently been found in forests of Andaman lo kanpadindi. Therefore prelims question ki idi very important. Musa idanmanensis, longest banana found in Andaman. Okay, that is a very beautiful thing. This Musa inandamanensis, it's a rare wild banana from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Longest fruit bunch at 4.2 meters height. Discovered in 2012, it was recently found in Campbell Bay and it's valued for its genetic use in banana breeding ki chala important. Conservation status critically endangered. Therefore it is very super important for prelims question. Adi mata. Ekkada kanapadindi IUCN status, length 4.2 meters, Andaman Nicobar Islands. Ivi gurtu pettukunte more than sufficient. Next, new cave dwelling fish. Prawns like unta chudanki, but it's a fish. Schistura tensiclava. It's a cave dwelling fish species discovered in Krem Mobun Cave, East Khasi Hills, Meghalaya, which adapts to streams over ground. So Meghalaya, very important. Where is it found? Krem Mobun Cave. Idi ekkadundi అని కూడా అడగచ్చు. They can ask you what is the place, where do you find this cave? It's found in the Khasi Hills of Meghalaya. So that gives a scope of prelims question. So it's a new cave dwelling where this fish is found. Meghalaya lo, Khasi Hills lo. Name is very important. Krem Mobun Cave, East Khasi Hills lo కనపడడం జరిగింది. So discovered as a new species of troglophile loach. It's a cave dwelling animal. Troglophile loach ante cave dwelling animal. And it is found above the ground. Above the ground becomes the scope of prelims question. Within the ground or above the ground? Above the ground. It is found in cool, fast-flowing stream about 60 meters inside the cave, belonging to Nemacheldae family. So this gives a scope of prelims question. What family does this form? So this is belonging to the Nemacheldae family, adapted to the dark subterranean environment but can also survive in surface waters. It retains the pigment and eyesight, unlike other cave dwelling fishes which do not retain that. Males are slimmer and irregular patterns and puffier cheeks unte daniki, while females are sturdier, ittanga untai and consistent markings untai. Males slim ga untai, females dodduga untai. So that gives a scope for prelims questions for male versus female. Conservation status inga recognize kaaledu, inga assessment em jaragaledu. That is about this particular species, fish species. Next, Pacific field crickets. Crickets are also Ratriputta noise chesevi. Scientists have discovered that Pacific field crickets have evolved to evade parastoid flies. ఈ ఫ్లైస్ ని అవాయిడ్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది. దాని సైంటిఫిక్ నేమ్ ఓర్మియా ఆర్కియేరియా బై మోడిఫైయింగ్ ఇట్స్ మేటింగ్ సాంగ్స్. సో మేటింగ్ సాంగ్, మేట్ అంటే తెలుసు కదా, ఫీమేల్ అండ్ మేల్ మేటింగ్. ఆ సాంగ్స్ ని మార్చారు. సమ్ హావ్ బికమ్ సైలెంట్ డ్యూ టు వింగ్ మ్యూటేషన్ వైల్ అదర్స్ హావ్ అడాప్టెడ్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఆల్టర్డ్ కాల్స్ ఫర్ మేటింగ్ పర్పసెస్. సో అది డిస్కవరీ బేసికల్ గా స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ పసిఫిక్ ఫీల్డ్ క్రికెట్స్. సో దీంట్లో చూసుకోండి, కామన్లీ నోన్ యాజ్ ఆస్ట్రేలియన్ పెసిఫిక్ ఆర్ ఓషనిక్ ఫీల్డ్ క్రికెట్ అంటారు దీన్నే. ఇది ఓషియానా అండ్ కోస్టల్ ఆస్ట్రేలియా ఫ్రమ్ కార్నివరన్ టు వెస్టర్న్ ఆస్ట్రేలియా అండ్ రాంగ్ఫర్డ్ ఈ ఏరియాస్ లో క్వీన్స్లాండ్ దగ్గర ఎక్కువ కనపడతాయి. మోస్ట్ క్రికెట్స్ మేల్స్ అట్రాక్ట్ ద ఫీమేల్స్ బై ప్రొడ్యూసింగ్ కాల్స్ యూజింగ్ ఫైల్ స్క్రేపర్ మెథడ్, అంటే రబ్బింగ్ వన్ స్వింగ్ స్క్రేపర్ అగేన్స్ట్ ది అదర్ ఫీల్డ్. సో దిస్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ యువర్ ప్రిలిమ్స్. ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి మనకి క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే ఫైల్ స్క్రేపింగ్ దేనికి సంబంధించింది అని అడిగే క్వశ్చన్ ఉంటుంది బేసికల్ గా, కాన్సెప్చువల్ కాబట్టి. ఫైల్ స్క్రేపింగ్ ఇస్ లింక్ టు ద క్రికెట్స్. సో ఫైల్ స్క్రేపర్స్ ఇట్స్ లింక్ టు ద క్రికెట్స్ మాట. సో మెయిన్లీ సో ద హార్ప్ అండ్ ద మిర్రర్ స్ట్రక్చర్స్ యాంప్లిఫై ద సౌండ్, దట్ ఇస్ రీజన్. కన్జర్వేషన్ స్టేటస్, ఇంకా కన్జర్వేషన్ స్టేటస్ ఏమీ లేదు, బట్ దిస్ ఫైల్ స్క్రేపర్ ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్ భయంకరంగా ఉంటుంది. అండ్ దేనికి రిలేటెడ్, దిస్ స్క్రేపింగ్ ఇస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు వాట్? సో దిస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు ద క్రికెట్స్ మాట, అది మనం గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. So crickets ki related concept to attract the opposite gender. They scrape it, loud sounds, mating ki useful hote. That's the whole point. So these are all the species for the month of May. Concepts gurtupettukondi, habitats, IUCN status. If you remember that, you will get 1 or 2 questions for your prelims. June month 2025 lo vachina species ento okasari quick ga glance kodam. First one, Portulaca bharat is a flower. So this is a flowering plant species with unusual morphological characteristics has been discovered in Aravalli Hills, Jaipur lo kanapadam jarigindi. So scope of prelims question is very high. Okay. Habitat located in semi-arid and deciduous ecosystem of Aravalli range. Semi-arid. So prelims question ikkada vastadi. Grows in rock crevices, rock and dry hill slopes lo ivi పెరగడం జరుగుతాయి. This beautiful flowering species with a very rare morphological characteristics Jaipur lo కనపడడం జరిగింది. Next, morphological features are succulent plant with water storing tissues. Does it have water storing tissues అనే క్వశ్చన్ వస్తుంది. So that gives a prelims question. Concave leaves ki opposite ga untadi. Pale yellow flowers that turn creamish white towards the apex. So if you observe, pale yellow but లోపల పేల్ ఎల్లో ఉంటుంది, కానీ బయటకు వచ్చినప్పటికి వైటిష్ టైప్ లో తయారవుతుంది. సో ప్రెసెన్స్ ఆఫ్ గ్రాండ్యులర్ హెయిర్స్ ఆన్ ఇట్ ఆన్ స్టేమన్ ఫిలమెంట్స్, థిక్ రూట్స్ ఉంటాయి, లైక్లీ ఎయిడింగ్ డ్రౌట్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ కూడా వెరీ యూస్ఫుల్. కన్జర్వేషన్ స్టేటస్ ప్రొవిజనల్ గా ఉంది, డేటా డెఫిషియెంట్. సో దట్ ఇస్ ద సిట్యుయేషన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ బ్యూటిఫుల్ ఫ్లవర్. ఇట్స్ కాల్డ్ Portulaca భారత్. నెక్స్ట్, యురేషియన్ ఆటర్ ఇది మాట. So recently Eurasian otter made reappearance in Kashmir Valley lo కనపడడం జరిగింది. It was considered to be extinct, but మళ్ళీ కనపడింది. Extinct అనుకున్నారు for 3 decades. Therefore this gives a scope of prelims question. Something which was considered to be extinct suddenly popped up, and that is Eurasian otter. So scientific name Lutra, very important for prelims. ఇది wide variety of aquatic habitats లో పెరుగుతుంది, including highland, lowland lakes, river systems, streams, marshes, swamp of forests and coastal areas, independent of their size, origin and latitude. Found in foothills of western Himalayas as well as states of Goa, Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. It is near threatened species. Extinct antunaru kani proof lekunde, but it came back again. Therefore this otter is very important. Scientific name Lutra, very catchy, therefore more scope. So next, Karai camel. Idi mata, this Karai camel. Recently, National Green Tribunal, NGT వాళ్ళది కాబట్టి డైరెక్ట్ గా it gives a huge scope of prelims questions coming from this particular rank. In a case involving threats to the Karai camels in Kutch region of Gujarat lodi. So that is a news. Rare camel indigenous to Gujarat, basically ga ability to swim along. Gujarat lodi, the ability to swim usually 3 kilometers at time and graze in mangroves. That's a highlight point. Kharai camels are adapted to desert, salt pan, marshes and mangrove. They have been conserved by the Rabari and Fikarani Jat tribes. Therefore, this becomes a scope of prelims question. Which tribes protect them? The Rabari and Fakirani Jat tribes over 100 years. The Kharai camel milk is rich in nutrients and has therapeutic properties containing antibodies similar to human milk. Status: endangered species, therefore very important. Prelims ki chala important, but these tribes becomes the most highlight point for prelims. Which tribes protects these Kharai camels? Rabari and Fakari. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. సో ఇవి మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి అప్కమింగ్ ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. జూలైలో ఫస్ట్ చూద్దాం. జూలైలో ఏమేమి స్పీషీస్ వచ్చినాయో. ఫస్ట్, న్యూ గార్షినియా స్పీషీస్ ఫౌండ్ ఇన్ అస్సాం. అస్సాంలో దొరికినాయి న్యూ గార్షినియా స్పీషీస్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ యువర్ ప్రిలిమ్స్? ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి వాట్ ఈస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్? దే విల్ నాట్ ఆస్క్ యూ వేర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫౌండ్ ఇన్ ఆల్ దట్ స్టఫ్. దే విల్ ఆస్క్ యూ వాట్ ఈస్ ద జీనస్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. సో అది దాని పరంగా it's a new what kind of species? It's a tree species. This Garcinia is a tree species. This is how it looks like. Okay, chinna pool untundi, small flower like, but it is a tree species. Daniki named Garcinia kusume. Ee kusume anedi, it is mother goddess mata akkada Assam lo. So kusume, and it has been discovered in Assam. So this is the context why this is very important. Okay, so let's do a little bit of more analysis on Garcinia kusume. It belongs to which genus? Which genus? Genus Garcinia, locally known as Thoicora. So this is a scope of prelims question coming. What is a genus? What is it locally called? It is called Thoicora. After whose name? Kusum Devi, mother of co-author Jatindra Sharma. Where it is found? In Bamunbari, Buxa district during the survey in April. What kind of plant is it? What kind of tree is it? It's a deciduous evergreen. This one. So it is deciduous evergreen tree. That means throughout the year it grows, growing up to 18 meters, flowering between February to April and fruiting between May to June. If you know about this, I think it is more than sufficient. So the major scope of question which can come in your prelims is, what is the genus? What is it locally called? So these two are very important for your prelims. So Garcinia kusume, it's a tree species. They will ask you what kind of species? Tree, flower, fruit and all that stuff. It's a tree species and it is a deciduous evergreen forest. So deciduous evergreen. So these two are the major scope for getting a prelims question. Okay, right. Similarly, next to them, this beautiful bird. Rare sighting of the great hornbill. You already know great hornbill, always a big news. Great hornbill has been seen from its usual habitats, which is a rare phenomenon, igniting sparks among environmentalists. So, great hornbill, what are the major points of it? It is usually found in Malay Peninsula. That's the major point for your prelims. In Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia. So, in India, where is it found? It is found in the Western Ghats, northeastern and southeastern regions lo ekko kanpadutundi. So this beautiful thing, very beautiful. So hornbill. So they will not ask you where it is found and all that. That is not the scope of the question. So why this is very important? It is because they are airborne, live mainly in wet, tall and evergreen forests. This is where they are found. So this is the scope of prelims question. And they prefer canopies and vertical దాని మీద కూర్చుంటాయి. So height of the canopy preferred for nesting. The height of the tree and the presence of natural cavity large enough to hold a female inner eggs. So female వాళ్ళ eggs ని protect చేసుకోవడానికి అట్లాంటి canopy structures మీద ఎక్కువ కూర్చుంటుంది. So appearance, basically males have slightly larger bills and casques. So they will not ask you a question on this. But state animal. The great hornbill is a state bird of Arunachal Pradesh and Kerala. That is the scope of prelims question coming. State bird of Arunachal Pradesh as well as Kerala. Scope of prelims question. And they might ask you a question on IUCN. What is the vulnerability? So under IUCN, its status is vulnerable. So this is the scope of prelims question coming. So in this, very tall canopy structures, state Arunachal Pradesh and Kerala, and what is the IUCN status, which is vulnerable status. So if you know this, that is more than sufficient for your prelims. Next, let's see this beautiful thing. It is 4 centimeters wide. Ambrosia beetle. It's called Eucalyptus parallelus. So that is the structural name. So scope of getting a prelims question is on the scientific name of it. Where it was found? In the Kerala forest. Parasite known as Eucalyptus parallelus, which is posing as a threat. Why this is very important? Because it is posing as a threat to rubber plantations. For all the rubber plantations, this has become a big problem. So the scope is about rubber plantations. Scope is about rubber plantations. It is destroying the rubber plantations, therefore it becomes very, very important. In Kerala, you know, rubber plantation, rubber business is very, very important. So it hits people who are based on rubber industries. So it's causing severe leaf fall and rapid drying is happening there. The reason is this creature, which is called Ambrosia beetle. That's the common name. Scientific name is Eucalyptus parallelus. Parallel gurtupetukondi. That's it. So if you observe this, it's parallel. This body structure is also parallel. So you can easily remember the beetle which looks parallel, that's called Eucalyptus parallel. Okay, parallelus is the scientific name. What are the key points? Mutualistic relationship with two fungal species. We already done this. Fungal species is Fusarium ambrosia. That's first one. And Fusarium solani. So the words are very important. Fusarium. What is this? They are the fungal species which are involved. So how do you remember it? Starts with F, fungal, Fusarium F. In this, what are the two things? One is ambrosia and one is solani. So that is a major point. So that's the scope of prelims question for this particular topic. Where is it usually? What is the habitat of it? It is found in Central as well as South America, and have been found first in India in the cashew plantations, in the cashew trees of Ponda, Goa. So where it was found for the first time in India, it was found in Goa. So scope of question will not be there, but this is where the scope of question is. Prelims. What they do is they attack the dead along with stress trees, where it releases volatile compound called ethanol. So what does this release? Ethanol. So that's a scope of SNT question which can come for science and technology and environment. Ethanol, that becomes the major point. So these beetles bore tunnels known as galleries in the bark of the trees and carry fungus along with them and concentrate on nutrients of the trees. They start eating all those things. So the scope of prelims question, there are 2 points. One is Fusarium and one is what is released. Ethanol is released from it. And where is it found? For the first time, Goa. Why it is important? It is because this beetle is parallel, therefore parallelus, and it destroys the rubber plantations. That is the scope of prelims question. Next, the Great Indian Bustard, always very important. Why this context? Why this is very important? Because Supreme Court has involved itself into this. So the Supreme Court appointed expert committee proposed designated power corridors in Gujarat and Rajasthan to ease blanket restrictions on the overhead power lines in the habitat of the Great Indian Bustard. This is disturbing the power lines. That is a major problem. So that is what we are looking at. Power lines issue. So here, previous one was rubber plantations. This is power lines. So some restrictions have been put in the Supreme Court. So why this is very important? Recognized by its black crown contrasting with its pale head and neck, brownish body marked with black, brown and grey. So if you look at this diagram, this is how it looks like, the Great Indian Bustard. Almost like a crane, but a big crane ki vulture ki majin untadannamata. So why it is important? State bird of Rajasthan. Scope of prelims question. Where do they usually reside? Open grasslands with minimal disturbance. And where is it distributed? Schedule 1. As I told you in the first video, if you check, I have given all in the appendix. The first video, I have clearly mentioned what is Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3. I mentioned IUCN list, everything has been mentioned. మీరు ఒకసారి దాని ఫస్ట్ వీడియోని చూడండి, మీకు ఈజీగా అర్థమైపోతుంది. దాని తర్వాత you can come back and collect the information. So, Indian Wildlife Protection Act under IUCN Red List. So, what is its standard? Great Indian Bustard? It is critically endangered. So, that is the scope of prelims question here. A lot of recovery programs are being done under the integrated development of wildlife habitats. So, this Great Indian Bustard is also involved into this. Right. Next important thing which came into picture is the new cyprin fish species. Cyprin. Scientists have recently discovered a new species of cyprinid fish in the Brahmaputra river near Dibrugarh. This species has been named Petia dibrugarhensis. So, Petia dibrugarhensis, they might give you a question and ask, what is it? Tree, plant, animal, fish, what is that? And a question adagachu. So, it's a fish. It's a new species of fish which was found in Brahmaputra river. So, family, Cyprinidae family, the largest family of freshwater fish. That is the reason why it becomes a very, very important question, because largest family of freshwater fish. It is classified as a barb, found in moderately fast running water with substrate of mud, sand and stones. Right. Coexist with various small and indigenous native species of that particular region. So this is very important. So why this is very important? Because it is freshwater fish. That is a major reason. So scope of prelims question is coming here. Is it sea, ocean, freshwater? So that is a reason. Next. New butterfly species discovered. This is a beautiful butterfly that they found. Butterfly named Zographetus matthewi. So Matthew pair gurtupetukondi. Matthew is a butterfly. That's how you have to remember. Where it is found? It was found in Western Ghats. So some features about it. It belongs to skipper butterfly. Skipper means the captain. Intermediate form between the butterflies and moths. Belongs to the family of Hesperidae. So this is the scope of prelims question. So what is this genus? The genus is Zographetus watson. Sherlock Holmes is the Watson gurtupetukondi. Making the 15th species in this list and 5th to be recorded from India. Endemic to lower elevation forests of Kerala. So genus is Zographetus watson. It belongs to which family? Skipper family. Skipper butterfly family. So that is what you have to know from this particular thing. So scope of prelims question is only one point, which is this one. That's a major point. Next another thing for today is about the new dragonfly species discovered. This is how the dragonflies. You all know that. Ratri avangane diruta unte. Context into the Supreme Court involvement. Supreme Court appointed expert proposed designated power corridors in Gujarat and Rajasthan to ease plankton restriction over this one. So features, it's a small water pools in 3 holes and jet black bodies will be there. Span from low land forests and mid-level elevations between 50 meters and 1100 meters above sea level. So where it is found? The finding increased Kerala's ordinate species counting to 199, including 78 endemic species. So this is very important. This particular dragon species, very important. What its basic features? Black bodies but yellow spots, yellow triangular spots. So this is a scope of prelims question. It has yellow triangular spots on it and it has black body with yellow spots, yellow triangular shapes. So that is the feature of this particular one. Next. New gecko species in discovered. This is gecko. It's looks like a lizard, but it's not a lizard. Belongs to Nemaspis podihuna clade. So scope of prelims question will be filled. Previously, it was restricted only to Sri Lanka, but they have found a species in India. That is the reason very important. Previously restricted to Sri Lanka, but discovery in Assam strengthens the evidence of ancient biogeographical link between Sri Lanka and Indian Northeast, reflecting historical faunal exchanges across the Indian subcontinent. So, where is it restricted to? Another prelims scope. So, Sri Lanka will be the answer. This new gecko species, which was found initially, was from where? From Sri Lanka. So that shows there is a faunal and flora exchange between the northeast of our country and Sri Lanka. What are the features? Larger body size but fewer mid-body scale. More ventral scale rows across the belly. No questions will be asked on this. So no tubercles and lower flanks. So this will be the scope of prelims question. Usually these geckos have tubercles, but this one does not have it. 3 enlarged rows of thigh scales parallel to the enlarged femoral scale row. So if you observe this, Sudan Paranga, this is how it is important. Next important species from the month of August. Indri lemur microbiome. This is the thing. Context, first time, therefore it becomes very important. The researchers have found 47 unknown species of bacteria in Indri microbiome which can be transmitted within their social group. So this could be the affected party is this. So they have their own implications. This bacteria creates a problem for these species. Therefore, the habitats are very important. So Indri lemur. Okay. It's also known as Baba Kota. Therefore, very important for your prelims in the local language, and it is an arboreal lemur. They live in small families, stable social groups. They are monogamous and live in matriarchal society. So that's also for lemurs. Distribution, it's endemic to Madagascar, particularly found in the northeast of Madagascar. Threat, climate change and human activities, reasons for the habitat loss. The IUCN status is very important, critically endangered. Scope of prelims question. So recent findings, this is similar to the E. coli bacteria. So identified as E. coli and has been found mainly in Indri population. So these lemurs are affected by these E. coli bacteriums. So therefore it is very important. Because of which they are come down to critically endangered species level because of this bacteria. Next, snow leopard. Know this. Recently, a study conducted by the NCF and Wildlife Protection Act of Jammu and Kashmir has found that snow leopards are present and bred year around in Jammu and Kashmir. So this becomes very important. So what are the features? Thick white grey coat, spotted, solitary creatures and skillful predators. They are also known as the grey ghosts of the mountains. So habitat around Afghanistan, Bhutan, China, India and Kazakhstan. Around 12 countries are there. In India, where are they present? Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. These are the areas where the snow leopard is found. Therefore, it becomes very important. Next, population around 4,000 individuals remain in the world and India hosts around 500. IUCN status is very important, vulnerable. According to CITES, Appendix 1, Wildlife Schedule 1. So, I have given what is meant by CITES, Appendix 1. All these things I have clearly mentioned in the first part of the video. First part, starting 45 minutes is only about what is CITES, what is vulnerable, what is Schedule 1, what is Schedule 2. I have clearly mentioned. Conservation efforts, Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Program and Project Snow Leopard, that's very important. Additionally, India has identified the snow leopard as a flagship species for starting this program. So that becomes very, very important. Because India has started a flagship program, its scope of prelims question will be very much. Right. Next, narrow branded rain snake. If you observe this, researchers have recently recorded a new species of rain snake from elevated tropical forests of Mizoram. What is the scientific name of it? Narrow banded rain snake. It's called Smithopus leptofasciatus. Very important for your prelims. The rain snakes and the vanapam, they are named because they come more active in the rain. Rainy season lo baga darustundi. So Smithopus, then genus peru. So this becomes a scope of prelims question. Where is it found? It's found inhabiting humid, shaded and microhabitats near small streams and forests. Its semi-aquatic, nocturnal lifestyle until Ratrapur Nidraho was revealed through field observations during the monsoons. What are the features of it? It is distinguished by its narrow, incomplete, creamish, white or yellowish transverse bands and shiny black body. That's the beauty of it. Next, blue pink-gill shuttlecock mushroom. This mushroom becomes a very important thing. So recently a burst of rare and colorful fungi It's a fungus. In Kagasnagar forest of Telangana. So, what is the scientific name? It's called Entoloma postchatum. Prelims question. Common name is very important, more than scientific names. It's called sky blue mushroom. Color చూడండి, sky blue color. ఎక్కడెక్కడ దొరుకుతుంది? న్యూజిలాండ్ అండ్ ఇండియాలో దొరుకుతాయి. న్యూజిలాండ్, ఇండియా. అండ్ ఫేమస్ ఇన్ న్యూజిలాండ్ అండ్ ఫీచర్డ్ బై ద కంట్రీస్. $50 నోట్ మీద కూడా ఇంకా ఫెదర్ కనపడుతుంది ఆ మష్రూమ్స్. దట్స్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. నెక్స్ట్, ఇట్స్ కలర్ ఇస్ derived from where? From rare azulene pigments, and it acquires a pinkish color. Spores mature, giving rise to its pink kill descriptor. It even appears to glow faintly at night. However, the toxicity, it is poisonous, remains unconfirmed. Importance: presence of bioactive compounds such as antioxidants and antimicrobial agents that can lead to pharmacological research. So that is the importance of it. That is a major point why that mushroom is very, very important. Next, Asian giant tortoise. In Zailing community, Nagaland lo the Asian giant tortoise. It's called Monoria ms. It is the largest tortoise in the mainland Asia. Therefore, scope of prelims will be very much because Nagaland and largest tortoise. These are the two reasons why there is a chance of a question being asked. Next, habitat. Species occurs in hilly wet forests, flowering streams sitting in days in water. Diet includes green vegetation, mushrooms, bamboo shoots and fallen fruits. Tintavi. ఎక్కడెక్కడ దొరుకుతాయి? బంగ్లాదేశ్, మయన్మార్, నార్త్ ఈస్టర్న్ అండ్ సదర్న్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ థాయిలాండ్ అండ్ ఇండోనేషియాలో కనపడతాయి. ప్రొడక్షన్ స్టేటస్ ఏంటంటే ఇట్ ఇస్ లిస్టెడ్ యాజ్ క్రిటికల్లీ ఎండేంజర్డ్ అండర్ ద IUCN రెడ్ లిస్ట్ అండ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ ఇంక్లూడెడ్ ఇన్ ద సైట్స్ అపెండిక్స్ 2. స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ క్వశ్చన్ ఈ రెండు మీద ఉంటుంది, అంతకు మించి రాదు. నెక్స్ట్, స్మూత్ కోటెడ్ ఆటర్. Pair of smooth-coated otters began 1200 km journey from Surat to Delhi Zoo. Smooth-coated zero, essentially an otter of lowlands and floodplains. So what is important for us for our exam? Sleek fur and small eyes, freshwater rich areas lo untai, rice paddies tintai, water bodies avoiding small streams avoid chestadi. It is distributed throughout South Asia and Southeast Asia. IUCN status vulnerable and CITS low, appendix 2 of sites and schedule 2 of WPA. It is Wildlife Protection Act కింద ఇవ్వండి. సో స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ క్వశ్చన్ దీనికి వస్తుంది అండ్ దీనికి వస్తుంది. సో క్రిటికల్లీ అంటే వల్నరబుల్. సో దట్స్ ద స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ క్వశ్చన్. ఈ 2 points are very important for your exam. Next, freshwater crabs discovered in Western Ghats in Kerala. So new species were found of crabs, 2 new species from Western Ghats and Kerala. The new species belongs to the family, freshwater family crab, that is Carcinoid, G-carcinoid. So scope of flims question will be done because 2 new species were found. So about that, this is Kasargodaya shebe, spotted in Ranipuram Hill Station in Kasargod district, distinguished by brownish orange carpets untadani. So scope of flims question equals claws are orange with black spots. So that is Kasargodia. Pair itself so shows that it belongs to the Kasargodia Hill Station దగ్గర కనపడుతుంది. సో స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ క్వశ్చన్ అంతవరకు ఉంది. నెక్స్ట్ సెప్టెంబర్ చూద్దాం ఒకసారి. మనకి ప్రిలిమ్స్ కి పనికొచ్చేది ఏంటో చూద్దాం ఒకసారి. ఫస్ట్ డయోస్కోరియా బాలకృష్ణని. సో బాలకృష్ణ పేరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. కేరళలో కనుక్కున్నారు. ఎడిబుల్ ట్యూబర్ అంటే తినగలిగే ట్యూబర్, రూట్ వెజిటబుల్ ఫౌండ్ ఇన్ వెస్టర్న్ ఘాట్స్ రీజన్ ఆఫ్ వాయనాడ్ డిస్ట్రిక్ట్. డిస్కవరీ ఇట్ ఈస్ లోకల్ నోన్ as చోలా కిరుగు. స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ క్వశ్చన్ దీనికోసం. సో మీరేం గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే చోలా బాలకృష్ణ ఈ రెండు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. సో లోకల్ నేమ్ ఇస్ చోలా కిరుగు. ఇట్ ఇస్ డయోస్కోరియా. స్కోర్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, డయోస్కోరియా బాలకృష్ణ. డయోస్కోరియా బాలకృష్ణని స్పీషీస్ నేమ్డ్ Dioscorea balakrishni after V. Balakrishnan. He is a great environmentalist and current secretary of the Kerala State Biodiversity Pact. Tuber glycemic index ni తగ్గించుకోవడానికి it is very very important. This yam species is locally known as Chola Kirugu among the Kattu Nayakar tribes of Wayanad. So these tribes are very important. So if you observe this, the Kattu Nayakar tribes. So it is found only in sholas of evergreen forests. Chola Karigu had not been scientifically described until now. So therefore, it becomes very important. Scope of prelims question and pair very important. That is the whole point. And the tribes are very important. Which tribes? Kattu Nayakar tribes. It's very important for your prelims. Prelims paranga, these 3 points are very, very important. Antakunchi avasam లేదు. Next. Gastrochilus pechi, new species of orchid. This is the species, how it looks like. Recently, India has discovered a new family of orchid species. Which is called Gastrochilus pechi. In where is it found? Arunachal Pradesh. What is the genus? Gastropechi. Gastrochilus is the monopodial orchid comprising of 77 species. ఎక్కడ ఉంటుందంటే ట్రాపికల్ అండ్ టెంపరేట్ ఏషియాలో ఎక్కువ, సబ్ ట్రాపికల్ అండ్ ట్రాపికల్ అండ్ టెంపరేట్ ఏషియాలో ఎక్కువ కనపడుతుంది. సెప్టెంబర్లో బ్లూమ్ అవుతుంది, అక్టోబర్లో వస్తుంది. నోన్ యాజ్ బ్లూమ్ ఓన్లీ ఇన్ మయన్మార్, ఫస్ట్ రికార్డెడ్ ఇన్ 1825. Researchers confirmed its presence in Vijayanagar, one of India's most remote administrative circles along the Myanmar border. Arunachal Pradesh is known as orchid state of India. Therefore, about 60% of the orchids grow there. Therefore, scope of prelims question only in Myanmar. Therefore, so small trees and river banks there ekku perugutayi. Scope of prelims questions, those 2 points. Next, Cyrotoda setlus varanaksha ballila untayi. It's a gecko species antaru. Gecko ante ballulu basically. And Tritodactylus vanarakshaka has recently been discovered in Dima Hasowa district, Assam. So this Cyrodactylus varanakshaka, scientific name Vanarakshaka, is derived from the Sanskrit word Vana, means Vana, forest, and Rakshaka, protection. So these geckos protect the forests. That is the whole thing. So new species belong to Tritodactylus casinensis group. High levels of endemism ఉంటుంది, restricted distribution. So the other 4 Tritodactylus species are Tritodactylus kuhatensis, kaziranganensis, casinensis, and urbanus. So these are all the 4 scope of prelims question in this matter. ఇదే species సంబంధించి these are all geckos అంటే బల్లులు, gecko species. ఇది స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ప్రిలిమ్స్ క్వశ్చన్స్ వస్తాయి. మీరు ఇక్కడ పేరు చూసుకుంటే గౌహాటి, కాజీరంగా, కాసిన్స్ అండ్ అర్బన్, ఇవన్నీ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. మోర్ దెన్ సఫిషియెంట్ ఫర్ యువర్ ప్రిలిమ్స్. నెక్స్ట్, రెడ్ ఐవీ ప్లాంట్ ఉంటుంది. ఐవీ ప్లాంట్ ఇండిగో కలర్లో ఉంటుంది. హార్నెస్ట్ వూండ్ హీలింగ్ అంటే దెబ్బ తగిలితే తగ్గించే ఒక పదార్థము. రెడ్ ఐవీ ప్లాంట్ టు డెవలప్ ఇన్నోవేటివ్ as well as multifunctional wound healing pad utilizes nanomaterials. So nanomaterials కింద వచ్చింది కాబట్టి scope of prelims question under electrospot. సో దీంట్లో చూసుకుంటే అబౌట్ రెడ్ ఐవీ ప్లాంట్ చూసుకుంటే locally known as Murikuti pacha Strobilanthes alternata belonging to the Acanthaceae family. Scope of prelims question ఇది. So this part is very important for your prelims. ఎక్కడెక్కడ దొరుకుతుంది? సౌత్ ఈస్ట్ ఏషియా అండ్ నార్థన్ ఆస్ట్రేలియాలో ఎక్కువ కనపడుతుంది. ఇంక్లూడింగ్ ఇండియా. ఇంక్రెడిబుల్లీ హార్డీ స్పీషీస్ ఏబుల్ టు సర్వైవ్ ఇన్ హై అండ్ లో లైట్ లెవెల్స్. లో మెయింటెనెన్స్ ప్లాంట్ జస్ట్ లైక్ క్యాక్టస్. రిక్వైర్స్ మినిమల్ కేర్ అండ్ లెస్ ప్రూనింగ్ కూడా తక్కువ ఉంటుంది. లాంగ్ బీన్ యూజింగ్ ట్రీట్ కట్స్ అండ్ వూండ్స్ కి చాలా చాలా పనికొచ్చే ప్లాంట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద రెడ్ ఐవీ ప్లాంట్. ఇండిగో కలర్ లో ఉంటుంది చూడండి ఇక్కడ. దిస్ హౌ ఇట్ లుక్స్. సో ఏమైనా కట్లు వూండ్స్ అయితే ఇట్స్ వెరీ వెరీ యూస్ఫుల్. నెక్స్ట్, Garra numbationensis, freshwater fish. Garra numbationensis, a new species of Lebanine fish, has recently been discovered in Tarelok River, which is a tributary of Chindwin River near Nambashi Valley in Kasoming, Manipur. So this becomes a scope of prelims part. ఏ రివర్ కి చెందింది? Chindwin River. Chindwin River ఎవరిది? మణిపూర్ది. That is a major point. Okay, Chindwin and Tarret Ploke River. ఈ రెండు కూడా మనకి మణిపూర్ దగ్గరవి. న్యూ స్పీషీస్ గర్రా నంబా షైనసిస్. Belongs to Lebonine family. 9 గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. నంబా 9 NN. ఈ రెండు వర్డ్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. Typically measures 90 to 140 millimeters and locals call it Nutungu. Very important for your prelims part. The species adds to growing list of garra fish in northeast with 60 species already documented across river systems. Next, scarlet dragonfly, very important, red in color, discovered in Kerala's western Ghats. Crothomisus erythrea and scarlet darter of the bog skillet belongs to the family of Libellulidae. Generally spotted in warmer and lower altitudes. The bright male forms look red and the females have undertone of yellow and brown to paler strips. So this is the male. Female kemo kinda yellow and brown strips untai. Right. Next, November month chuddam. Comb jelly. This is how the jelly looks like. దీంట్లో మనం చూసుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే comb jellies or ctenophores are a group of gelatinous marine invertebrates. Vertebrata, invertebrata అనే క్వశ్చన్ వస్తుంది. Known for their distinctive rows of cilia which resemble like combs. దువ్వెనలా కనపడుతూ ఉంటాయి. So helps them to swim. It belongs to phylum Ctenophora. This is a scope of prelims question. And this is the difference between jellyfish kuda comb laga untadi, idi kuda comb untadi, but it belongs to a different phylum. A phylum peru Ctenophora. Habitat oceans and deep seas lo ekko kanpadtayi. So features entidante it is bioluminescent ante velugunistadi, gives light, creating light as they move. Capture prey with sticky cells called colloblasts, capable of reversing ages kuda and reverting adult to larvae form under extreme stress, challenging traditional biological development. So what is the best feature? Ad sudden ga musalaipe sudden ga young అయిపోతుంది. So ఆ feature దానికి. So which is a nature ki against her. So imagine that. So this will be the most interesting point. Under extreme stress lo ముసలవైన ఇవి కూడా సడన్ గా దే బికమ్ వెరీ యంగ్. సో దట్స్ బెస్ట్ పార్ట్. నేచర్ కి అగేన్స్ట్ గా. సో టూరిటాప్సిస్ ధోర్ని ఇమ్మార్టల్ జెలీఫిష్ అన్నమాట. అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే ఇట్ ఈస్ ఏబుల్ టు బికమ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఓల్డ్ టు యంగ్, ఇట్ మీన్స్ దెర్ ఇస్ నో డెత్ ఫర్ ఇట్. దేర్ఫోర్ ఇమ్మార్టల్ జెలీఫిష్ undergoes reverse biological development, making them a part of rare group of time travelers in the animal kingdom. So that's the best part. So immortal jellyfish, Limsky scope, because they reverse their ages. Next, Dicliptera polymorpha, flower. A new species, Dicliptera polymorpha, was discovered in Talagon, Dabera, West Ghats. Experience a second burst of flowering triggered by grassland fire swallow. Taxonomically unique with spicate, spike-like, spike already. Rare structures in Indian species. Only Indian representative of genus Dicliptera. So this is scope of prelims question because it is the only species. Only Indian species. Kabatti scope of prelims questions will be there. And where is it found? It is found in Africa. Closest relative is found in Africa. Next, Gastrodia lohitensis. It looks like this. New orchid species from Botanical Survey, Arunachal Pradesh. Scope of prelims question will come from here. Flourishes without sunlight. That is a special feature. Therefore, it becomes very important for your prelims. And relying on the fungi in leaf litter of nutrients, microtrophic. Unique characteristics include linear cali and rigged lower lips distinguished from similar species in Southeast Asia. That's a very important point. So prelims paranga, 2 points are very important, more than sufficient. Next, Amorphobolus titanium. This is how it looks like. So it's Titan arum in short antarmata. and it is a flowering plant, large flowering plant native to Western Sumatra, Mere Sumatra, Indonesia. It's known for its shoot size and fall odor. Chala భయంకరమైన దారుణమైన వాసన వస్తుంది. Next, pollination strategy ఏంటంటే emits the smell of decaying flesh to attract carnivorous pollinators like flies and bees. That is called sapromyphale, aiding in pollen transfer. So what do they do? ఒక చెత్త స్మెల్ ఇచ్చి ఎలాంటి స్మెల్ ఇస్తుంది అంటే చచ్చిపోయిన వాసన ఇస్తుంది. చచ్చిపోయిన వాసన అంటే ఏంటిది? What do you mean by it? So when dead things are there, carnivorous animals will come to it and start, they hit the flower, they take the pollen grains, shift it to another flower. So that is how it does pollination. So that is the angle for it. Growth and reproduction, blooms once in every decade. Prati 10 years ko okkasari bloom avutundi. Okay. Upon pollination, fruit production depletes energy, often leading to plant death. So status is very important. It's fewer than 1,000 individuals remaining, so endangered. That's the scope of Prelims question. For this ecological context lo chuskunte, similar species like Rafflesia, Arnoldi, same pattern adi kuda. Odor based pollination, ante smell based. It releases a smell and pollination happens because flies, insects, carnivorous animals, they come, they touch the flower, they take the pollen, shift it to another place. So that's what is happening with this one. So scope of Prelims question, it is endangered, and plants, the smell is very important. Bad smell ichi pollination chestunadi. So that is the scope of Prelims question. Next. Bathydevious Codictylus. Same thing, jellyfish laga untundi, but it is not that. It's a silly slug species. First time it is being found. Therefore, scope of Prelims question. First sea slug species known to live in the deep ocean's midnight zone located between 1,000 to 4,000 meters below the surface. It was first observed in February 28th in waters of Monterey Bay, North America. And habitat entity species found in the bathyphalegate zone, that is midnight zone of the ocean, and expansive environment with no natural light. So this is scope of Prelims question because it's the first time it was found. Next, feeding mechanisms. Unlike most sea slugs that use a rasping tongue, the Bathydevious Codictylus uses a cavernous hood, a hood lag untundi, similar to the mechanism of Venus flytrap. This unique feeding strategy is also used by other deep sea species and cunicles. So ikkada chuskunte, these are the scarfmata. So they trap their prey using that, and then they start feeding on it. So bioluminescence, species can produce bioluminescence. That means it can give light, deterring predators by glowing or detaching a glowing finger-like projection. Okay, finger-like projection is from its tail, showing that chocolate. So if any predator is coming, it will show that and it drives them out. Next, rediscovered species is very important. Rochester's garrow, Rochester's kempe, we were rediscovered in Daribokre Community Reserve at 800 meters, characterized by its orange-hued inlets, hind limbs. Found in Mikadogre, this is Rochester's kempie Community Reserve with 112 meters. It's a yellow spotted ventral color and concealed tympanum. So the discovery underscores Meghalaya's role in the biodiversity hotspot and importance of the community participation in conservation efforts. So scope of Prelims question, where is this Rochester's garrow and Rochester's kempie found? It is found in Meghalaya. So scope of Prelims question, so biodiversity hotspot. Next, Minke whale. Recent research has revealed minke whales up to 90 kilohertz. Study reveals minke whales are more affected by, almost looks like a dolphin, but shark and dolphin in Majila. So industrial activities valla chala problem ayindi. Anthropogenic noise and interference with marine mammals and behavior patterns anni kuda change ayindi. So then valla that is a whole point. So it's a natural disaster. Next, December month chuddam. Next, Rhesus Macau. National Board of condemned the reinstate of Macau species of monkeys, scientifically known as Macaca mulata and commonly known as Rhesus monkey, mainland Asia lo kanpadutundi. Features entry, it is diurnal and omnivorous and arboreal and terrestrial. It resides in the range of habitats Lives on dry deciduous, bamboo and mixed forests and developments. Distribution found throughout southern Asia, especially Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, China and India. So IUCN is very important, least concern. It is very scope of important question. And comes under appendix to CITS. Video starting now, I have given you the list, check it out. Next, Asiatic caracal. Ilila untadi, chitalaga. Population of Asiatic caracals, Jaisalmer district of Rajasthan. Asiatic caracal, caracal smitis. Locally threatened, it's a cat species related to African golden cat, caracal orata and serval. Lepitailor as, so it's just like a cat. So what is this about? So దీంట్లో మనకి ఇంపార్టెంట్ అయినది ఫిలిమ్స్ కి సెమీ డెజర్ట్స్ లో కనపడుతుంది, వుడ్లాండ్స్ లో కనపడుతుంది, ఎవర్గ్రీన్ ఫారెస్ట్ లో కనపడుతుంది. సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ పాపులేషన్ ఎక్కడెక్కడ కనపడుతుంది? రాజస్థాన్ ఫాలోడ్ బై గుజరాత్, మధ్యప్రదేశ్, హర్యానా, ఉత్తరప్రదేశ్ అండ్ మహారాష్ట్ర. స్కోప్ ఆఫ్ ఫిలిమ్స్ క్వశ్చన్. థ్రెట్ ఏంటిది? ఇల్లీగల్ ట్రేడింగ్ జరుగుతుంది, దీంట్లో లార్జ్ స్కేల్ హంటింగ్ జరుగుతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ దట్ థ్రెట్ ఇస్. సో ప్రొటెక్టెడ్ ఏరియాస్ కచ్ వైల్డ్ లైఫ్ శాంక్చురీలో ఉంది గుజరాత్, and Ratnabor and Mukundra Hills and Mount Abu and Togargarh all in Rajasthan, as well as Gandhi Sagar WRS in Madhya Pradesh. So Kumbhalargar. So E reserves lo ivi ee pilli ganapattu. Next, golden jackal. Recently, Tenkasi Forest Division in Tamil Nadu, golden jackal ambassador scheme, that is very important for your prelims. Due to rampant construction activities valla idi misplace avutundi. So the golden jackal, the scientific name Canis auris. So it's wolf-like candid, African blackback and genus Lupulella. You don't know the scope of prelims questions. More than sufficient for your prelims. About it, Southeast Asia, North and East Africa, Myanmar lo baga kanpartundi. Construction activities valla chala threat avutundi basically. So environment is getting disturbed and these are moving on. Conservation status, least concern IUCN. Comes under Schedule 1 WPA 1972 Act as well as Appendix 3 SITS. So these are scope of prelims question. Not more than such. Right. Next, Himalayan black bears, very important. Uttarakhand raised serious concerns as Himalayan black bears have become increasingly aggressive by nature. Enduku? Because their natural hibernation places nannitni kuda construction activities destroy chestundi. It's a subspecies of Asiatic black bear with easily identified by distinctive white V-shaped chest. The white V-shaped chest to the Daniputla. So that is how it is. So that's a major point. Where are they? So ekko ganpadedi Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Nepal and Arunachal Pradesh. Nepal and Arunachal Pradesh lo ekko ganpadutundi. Ekko Himalayas, the lower Himalayas lo untadi. From Rajasthan, tigerism, Uttarakhand to Mizoram. Broadleaf and coniferous forest ekku untayi. Major threat, species faces severe habitat loss because of expanding settlements and all that. Conservation status vulnerable. IUCN list lo Schedule 1, Appendix 1, CITS. So this is a scope of prelims question you can get. Rajaji National Park and Corbett Tiger Reserve lo ee rendu doruktayi. Next, February species chudam malli. Riverine and estuarine dolphin, pinkish dolphins. Union Ministry of Environmental, Forest and Climate rolled out second range-wide estimation of riverine and estuarine dolphins, Project Dolphin for Bajnor, Uttar Pradesh. About river dolphin, aquatic mammals, 36 species of marine dolphins, ranging from 0 degrees to 30 degrees margin dolphins. So they are socially skilled and intelligent species, as you know, dolphins. And earlier survey revealed that estimated so many 6,327 dolphins, mainly in Ganga and Brahmaputra industry river basins of Kanpalleri. India is a home to 2 species. One is freshwater dolphin, this is under Ganges, and Indus river dolphins and Irrawaddy dolphin. Ee rendu untayi basically ga. So even brackish waters lo doruktayi. Majority dolphin is found in Uttar Pradesh, followed by Bihar and then West Bengal. Dolphins act as umbrella species for a lot of things. Next, Karen fries and Vrindwani cow breed. The cow very important, scope of prelims question. Registered 2 new high-yielding synthetic cattle breeds, Karen fries and Vrindwani cow. So scope of prelims question will be this. High milk production cows while successfully adapting to India's changing climatic periods. About the current fries, synthetic cow breed developed by National Dairy Research Institute. Where is it? It is found in Karnal, Haryana. So scope of this question, institute ki study. Developed through crossbreeding Holstein Friesian and globally recognized high yielding breed with India's indigenous Parker Zebu cattle. That's very important for your prelims. Prelims ki chala important. Characterized by black and white coat, absence of a hump, and it lives in hot and humid subtropical regions. Being reared and placed with farmers across the districts of Karnal, Kurukshetra, Panipat, Kaital, Jind and Yamunagar in Haryana. So that is a major point. You choose in hump that is a major point. Next, major significance, 3,500 kilograms of milk is per lactation. 10 నెలల్లో ఇన్ని కిలోలు మిల్క్ ఇస్తుంది. Genetically stabilized to overcome F1, that is first filial generation breeding, and adapted to agroclimatic conditions. Can serve as a foundation stock for cattle improvements across India. This is about this one. Next, Vrindavani cow breed developed by ICAR, Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh. So, scope of prelims question ikkadike untundi. A species, A institute chesinది. That is a scope of question. Composite exotic breeds such as Holstein Friesian, Brown Swiss, and Jersey, and indigenous Haryana cattle. So these are the major points. Next, Indian skimmer bird. Recently, Bombay Natural History Society launched conservation project under National Mission for Clean Ganga to protect endangered Indian skimmer Ganga basin. So, National Mission for Clean Ganga ki this becomes very important. Threatened riverine avian bird species also known as Indian scissors bill. Then scientific name Rhynchops albicollis, Rhynchops and scissors. Genus Rhynchops in the family Laridae. That's a scope of prelims question. Distribution habitat confined to large river systems Chambal, Ganga, Mahanadi, Yamuna and Son. Also found in Bangladesh, Pakistan and some countries of Southeast Asia like Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam. Major threats, nesting areas under a serious threat due to human interference. Conservation site, National Chambal Sanctuary, a nest protection program in 2020. Scope of prelims question. Protection status, IUCN red list lo endangered kinundi, therefore it becomes a scope of prelims question. That's a major point. Next, freshwater pufferfish, Tetradon Kutkatia. Recently, scientists have confirmed India's first case of pufferfish poisoning in Gujarat, largely because unrecognized riverine health risk. Scope of prelims question. Pufferfish poisoning belongs to the order Tetradoniformes and is locally known by the names such as toadfish, patkafish, balloonfish, and fugu. So these names are very important. So the names become scope for prelims question. Prelims ki pair important. This fish looks like this. It's called toadfish, patkafish, balloonfish, and fugu. So this becomes a very important part for your prelims. Names, pufferfish. Puffers. Next, global catalogs approximately 190 to 193 different species. Currently support 8 genera and 32 species of the pufferfish. Habitat, pufferfish are common omnivorous and benthic in habitat. Distribution primarily in Western Ghats, major basins of Ganga, Brahmaputra and Mahanadi. Production status of dwarf pufferfish, vulnerable, IUCN. So that is a major point. And finally, galaxy frogs disappear due to phototourism. Photo disappearance of 7 of the world's rarest galaxy frogs. It's called Melon Batrachus indicus in Kerala's Western Ghats. Why? Photo this galaxy frog, Melonobacterus indicus, rare visually striking amphibian found in the Western Ghats of Kerala, 2 to 3.5 centimeters. 1878 to discover JSR, remains poorly studied under elusive nature. Shiny black skin with blue species and marking stereo galaxy. Protection status vulnerable, IUCN. That's very important for your prelims. It uses skin patterns to communicate. So it choose a beautiful frog. So it disappear because of the photo shoots. So these are all the major species which were given from the past 6 months, and the previous video covered the other 6 months. A total 1 year of all the species are there on the channel. So మీరు చేయాల్సింది just before the exam, go through all the things I have marked what is important for your prelims. Stick to that. You will not get beyond those questions. So revise well. All the best.